Well, earlier I spoke with Bill Roedy. He's the president of MTV International. And I asked him how important a factor MTV International's business was in the recent downgrade of Viacom's stock.
There are literally, at last count, probably around 100 music channels, but this is not new. I mean, we've faced internationally competition in at least the last 6 years or so. We're quite used to it. We enjoy it, even, if you can say that. It does force us to innovate, force us to stay on our toes more. Often the competition is not direct competition, but fills a particular niche. So it helps the overall market in some ways. In other markets, they are direct competitors. We fight as hard as we can. We wake up every day figuring out a way to beat the competition. And I'm happy to report that in all of our competitive battles around the world, we are beating everyone.
You've just launched a new channel, MTV Russia, and yet Russia is going through a severe economic crisis, as you know. The ruble has been devalued, advertising is being hit. Why now? My personal observation is that there is tremendous resilience and resourcefulness and actually strength and character in the culture. And that has reassured us, again, for the long term. It has somewhat hurt our projections, but only for the short term. We haven't seen too much fall off from advertisers. None, in fact, from the Russian side. There's been one or two. I mean, you can count them on certainly one hand on the international side. So it really hasn't hurt us too much. Although, again, that's not to minimize the crisis, because it most definitely is a crisis. I think it worked in our favor, in a way, because when we did launch, the response was one of, wow, everyone's been criticizing us, everyone's been so negative. So there was quite a satisfaction that someone was coming in saying good things about Russia. So it became actually a very emotional launch. And I think in the end we did the right thing. Now, turning to Asia, in Japan you have MTV Asia, but you've actually just severed your relationship with your partner there. What was that all about? Was that having to do with the economic crisis, or the fact that you just weren't getting along in terms of the partnership?
We are changing partners. I can't tell you now who that will be. We're talking to some terrific candidates who have interest.
Japanese companies?
They are Japanese, most definitely, absolutely. Like our business around the world, it'll be very localized, run by local employees, of course.
Moving around the world, South America, you have MTV Brazil and you have a couple of Spanish language networks. How is the economic crisis in that part of the world actually impacting MTV?
Our business is not as big as you may expect in Latin America, even though it's one unified market, partly because the distribution infrastructure is still around 9 million. We do have 9 million households. We're the most distributed channel in that universe, but because it's 9 million out of whatever the total universe is, it's still quite small, so we haven't really felt a negative impact from that.
Now, if you were going to look at all these different markets together, Asia, Europe, Latin America, how is the business doing?
The key markets, which are basically Italy, Germany, the UK, Scandinavia, Argentina, Mexico, and India and China, all are having very strong double-digit growth in not only ratings but ad sales. So I've never felt better about the business, because we've taken this effort. Yes, young people want to be connected to the rest of the world. Yes, young people do have some similarities, and we've been capitalizing on that since day one. But the thrust of our strategy in the last 2 to 3 years has been emphasizing the local, and that's worked very, very well for us.